195, 196, 197, 198, 199, 200. Oh, hello there, and welcome. Hello! Today we will be doing lesson number 4, the truth about grit. I'm very excited for this lesson. First, let me read the story to you. It's the single most famous story of scientific discovery. In 1666, Isaac Newton was walking from his garden outside Cambridge, England. He saw an apple fall from a tree. The fruit fell straight to the earth, as if it was pulled by an invisible thread. Another story is that the apple hit Newton on the head. This ordinary observation led Newton to come up with the concept of universal gravitation, which explained everything from the falling apple to the orbit of the moon. There is something appealing about these stories. They reduce the scientific process to a moment of sudden inspiration. There is no description of his hard work. There is just an idea produced by a genius. Everyone knew that things fall. It took Newton to explain why. Unfortunately, the story of the apple is almost certainly false. Even if Newton started thinking about gravity in 1666, it took him years of hard work before he understood it. He filled entire notebooks with his rough ideas. The discovery of gravity, in other words, wasn't a flash of insight, but required decades of effort, which is one of the reasons Newton didn't publish his theory until 1687. Although many people have long celebrated Newton's intelligence, it's clear that his achievements were not just the result of his high intelligence. Newton also had an amazing ability to carry on in the face of obstacles, to continue working with the same puzzling mystery. Why did the apple fall, but the moon remained in the sky? Until he found the answer. In recent years, psychologists have come up with a term to describe this mental trait: grit. Although the idea itself isn't new, genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration, Thomas Edison famously said. Researchers are quick to point out that grit isn't simply about the will to work hard. Instead, it's about setting a specific, long-term goal and doing whatever it takes until the goal has been reached. It's always much easier to give up, but people with grit keep going. Stories of grit have long been related to self-help manuals and life coaches. Samuel Smiles, the writer of the famous Victorian text, Self-Help, taught the importance of working hard. However, new scientific studies rely on new techniques for reliably measuring grit in individuals. As a result, they're able to compare the related importance of grit, intelligence, and innate talent when it comes to determining achievement in a person's life. Although this field of study is only a few years old, it has already made important progress towards identifying the mental traits that allow some people to accomplish their goals, while others try hard and quit. Grit, as it turns out, is an essential and often overlooked part of success. I'm sure that there isn't a single highly successful person who hasn't depended on grit, says Angela Duckworth, a psychologist at the University of Pennsylvania who helped pioneer the study of grit. Nobody is talented enough not to have worked hard, and that's what grit allows you to do. The hope among scientists is that a better understanding of grit will allow educators to teach the skill in schools and lead to a generation of more successful children. Parents, of course, have a big role to play as well, since there's evidence that even simple things, such as how is a child praised, can heavily influence the manner in which kids respond to challenges. And it's not just educators and parents who are interested in grit. The U.S. Army has supported much of the research as it looks into new methods of identifying who is best suited for each field. The new focus on grit is part of a larger scientific effort to study the personality traits that best predict movement or best predict achievement in the real world. While researchers have long focused on measurements of intelligence, such as the IQ test, as deciding markers of future success, these scientists point out that most of the variation in individual achievement has nothing to do with being smart. Instead, it largely depends on personality traits such as grit and honesty. It's not that intelligence isn't really important. Newton was clearly a genius, but that having a high IQ is not nearly enough. Thank you. Okay, now we will do the comprehension questions. First off, Act 1, reading for main ideas. Choose the best answer. Number 1, what is the main idea of the passage? A, something we need to succeed in life. B, something that makes us rich. Or C, something that helps us understand gravity. Number 2, this passage tells us blank. A, the physical strength that helps us stay healthy is important. B, the gift that makes us keep trying hard is important. Or C, the intelligence that helps us realize the truth of life is important. Now for Act 3. Comprehension 2. Choose the 3 correct statements. I'm going to read all of them now. Number 1. The popular story of Newton describes the difficulties he had coming up with the concept of universal gravitation. 2. It took Newton about 30 years to publish his theory because he was working hard during that period. Number 3. Grit is a mental trait which enables a person to set a long-term goal and continue making every effort to realize it. Number 4, in recent years, new scientific studies have been conducted to clarify why intelligence is more important than other mental traits such as grit. Thanks to recent research, it has become possible to explain why some people accomplish their goals while others do not. Number 6, Angela Duckworth, a psychologist, says that highly successful people are talented enough not to have to work hard. Number 7, some educators expect that the results of scientific studies of grit will allow them to find grittier children at school. 8, in order to achieve a high level of success, even a very intelligent person needs to have grit. Thank you. So, I have actually done a lot of research and attended a lot of classes about grit. It might seem like an obvious idea to you, but in other countries, this is a new educational idea. And as a teacher in America, I attended a lot of classes and courses on grit. The study that they mention in paragraph 8, parents, of course, have a big role to play as well, since there's evidence that even simple things, such as how a child is praised, can heavily influence the manner in which kids respond to challenges. I've read that study. I've taken classes on that study. The basic idea is there are 2 types of mindsets, ways of thinking. The first is called a fixed mindset. It's the idea that when you're born, you're given a fixed intelligence. Like, you are this smart, or this smart, or this smart, or this smart, but it doesn't change. And the other idea is called a growth mindset, which states that your intelligence can change. Your intelligence could start here, but with enough practice, maybe even some perfect practice, your intelligence can increase. The study that they did to test this was on children about 7 years old. They gave 2 groups of children puzzles. And the first group of children, when they completed the puzzle, they said, "Oh, good job. You're so smart." And with the second group, they said, "Oh, good job. You worked so hard." In that moment, the researcher made one kid believe in fixed mindsets and the other kid believe in growth mindsets. It's shown that over the long term, people with growth mindsets will be more successful because they give up less. In the second part of that study, they give each kid a more difficult puzzle. And the kid who was told he was smart gave up because the puzzle was too hard. The kid who was told he did a good job because he worked hard, worked on the puzzle until he finished it. Failure and success. I'm not saying intelligence has zero role in people's lives, but that growth mindset that idea that if you study and you work and you try and you apply yourself, you will succeed, is the most powerful thing in the world for a person. In America, we're slowly discovering this, and we're trying to make it happen. But one thing I'm proud of is when I see you guys do it every single day. That's all I really have to say on that. I can't wait to see you in person. I hope you stay safe and have a great day. See ya.